Hello guys, how's it going? Got another great video for you today, and it's based on something that one of my students was talking to me about yesterday. So I just got a new student yesterday, joining to the club, and we started to go through the action plan. So the first time I get a student, we also go through where they're at, what we're going to do, and like the course of action we're going to take specified to them. And we make up this plan and we have everything we're going to do when we're ready to go. And he says to me, what happens if it doesn't work? So what's the worst case scenario that happens if this doesn't happen, or this bit doesn't work, or if this bit doesn't go as planned, and just Amazon doesn't go like I expected it to? And I'm sure this is the exact same problem that many of you have had when you thought about starting Amazon FBA, or even if you're new and you've still just found Amazon FBA, I'm sure many of you still might be worried about it, that what happens if it doesn't work? What happens if your product doesn't sell? What happens if something goes wrong in the shipment? Or what happens if your launch fails? There is a lot of things that can go wrong, and it isn't just easy sailing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not too worrying. And that's exactly what I explained to that student at that time. Was, if you think about it, okay, if you've invested in your learning and you've got someone who's done it and who's like been through the process and they've seen how it all works, or even if you join like the Facebook group, so I've got a massive Facebook group, if anyone who doesn't know, even if it's not mine, if you join any Facebook group, Amazon FBA Facebook group, if you have people around you who you use to advise you and who you use to bounce ideas off, you really can't go wrong. So if you've invested in a product and you've done everything step by step, just even if you just follow YouTube videos and you haven't actually like got a course or anything like that, then the worst case scenario is that when your product gets there, it doesn't sell, okay? You've somehow chosen the wrong product. But if you're in an Amazon group and you've invested in your learning and done all these other things, then you won't have chosen a bad product, because as soon as you found a product, you could have shown it to your mentors, you could have shown it to the people in the Facebook group, and they would have told you it's a bad product. So unless you've not really paid attention and you haven't really invested the time you should, and you've chosen a bad product, that's the only time you could be worried. But even then, even if it's the worst product you could possibly have bought, you can still get out of that situation. And really guys, the worst case scenario, even if you don't choose a bad product and it just so happens the product doesn't sell that you expected, the worst case scenario, if you've got 20-30% margins like everyone should if they're starting Amazon FBA, literally the worst case scenario is that you break even, or even you lose a couple £100. But a couple £100 on a maybe £2,000-3,000 investment, what is that? Like, it's hardly anything from the amount you're going to learn from doing the entire process yourself and everything you're going to have. So you've already bought all of the the tools you need and everything you need to get started. So losing a couple £100 on one bad decision when you've invested thousands is not a bad risk to take, when on the flip side, if it does go well, you have the opportunity to grow that product to be making thousands and thousands of pounds a month in terms of passive income. So literally, unless you really don't pay attention and you just try and do it all yourself and not learn properly, and you choose a bad product, but even then, through PPC and things like that, if you know how to do PPC, you can still probably break even. So the risk, guys, is so minimal compared to the reward that you really should not worry about getting started, just getting your hands dirty. It's really not that scary. The risk to reward is just ridiculous, so you really don't have that much to lose, okay? And if you're afraid of losing £200-300, if your whole thing that you're doing goes completely tits up, even with all the support you have, then you probably shouldn't be starting Amazon FBA in the first place, because you should only invest as much as you're willing to lose. And even though you're not going to lose all your investments, just losing a couple £100, if that scares you, then maybe it's not the right business model for you, and maybe you should look into something else that doesn't require an upfront investment, like social media marketing. So that basically does it for this video. I just wanted to explain to you guys just how much of a risk-reward kind of scenario is involved with Amazon FBA, and how much reward there is compared to the very little risk. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, I hope you've taken something from it, and I hope you've learned from it. Just before I go, I almost forgot then, I have to select the winner for the mentoring giveaway in the last video. So the winner of the giveaway goes by the YouTube name of Dragon Hunter. So once again, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.